This doesn't look like any trail I've seen before, and it certainly doesn't look like the desert, but it's actually both. I'm John Viehman. Join me for an occasional backstroke in Utah's remote slot canyons as we make our own adventure on Trailside.
Trailside is made possible in part by LL Bean, providing sporting gear and apparel for people who love the outdoors for over 80 years. And by Chevy Trucks. Next time you're having fun outdoors, make sure Mother Nature has a good day too. And High-Tech Sports, who invite you to enjoy the great outdoors and follow the trail to adventure.
Most people's image of the desert is sand dunes and sun-baked earth. And for the most part, that's true. But scratch a little bit below the surface, and you can find lush trees and chilly 40-degree water. Well, we're here in Zion National Park to explore a truly unique desert environment. Over time, flash floods, with the help of gravity, have carved narrow, winding slot canyons into the soft red sandstone of the American Southwest. And some of these canyons are hundreds of feet deep and as narrow as a few feet wide. Now, the experience of climbing inside these gashes in the earth is called slot canyoneering, and it's not something to be taken lightly. It demands special skills and equipment beyond the typical backcountry adventure, which is why we're going with someone who really knows the ropes. We'll be exploring one of the more remote gorges out here with veteran outdoor photographer and canyoneer Dennis Turville, who's spent the last 20 years down in that subterranean world. He's made more than 30 first descents into technical slot canyons throughout the Southwest. And not surprising, one of his favorite landscape subjects is slot canyons, the narrow, deep ones. Hey, Dennis.
Oh, how you doing, John?
Good. Hey, we're not going to need one of these large format cameras. I only brought a 35 millimeter.
I'm afraid I'm hooked. I have to have a big camera because I make big posters and big prints, so I need a big negative, but small cameras work just fine.
Okay. Well, what is it about canyons that you find so compelling anyway?
Canyons are truly wild. I mean, it's some of the last, most unvisited parts of the country left.
Mm-hmm.
And going down there, you can feel like a real explorer. It's the first, no one's ever seen it in some cases, and I just love going down there first.
Do you have a favorite?
No, I mean, the canyons are so different every time you go down them. I mean, sometimes you might want to rappel down a big wall, you might want to go swimming for miles, or you might just want to walk with a box like this through a real pretty place. I just choose it depending on who I'm with and what kind of experience I want.
Okay, so where are we going?
Well, you have a wetsuit.
I got a wetsuit.
And you have a climbing harness.
Yep.
Well, where I'm going to take you, you're going to need both of them. But I think you're going to like it.
Okay. Can I help you load up your gear and we can get going?
Yeah, if you'll grab this stuff, I'll grab the camera. And we'll head out. True canyoneers go where the water goes. We'll be rappelling every day. At first, we'll be walking on sand like this and squeezing through some pretty tight spots. I know it's hard to imagine now, but by the end of this trip, we'll be up to our armpits in running water.
Was the equipment for canyoneering any different than it is for just ordinary climbing?
Well, it has to be a little different because canyoneering is really a mixture of several different sports. It's part rock climbing, part desert hiking, a little crevasse rescue thrown in, even Navy SEALs training, as you're going to find out.
Okay. Well, what about the rope? Is that any different?
Well, this is a static line, and it's a lot like a steel cable because with body weight on it, it won't stretch at all. A regular climbing rope, a dynamic rope as they're called, is for absorbing energy of falling climbers, but we don't have to worry about that. So we'll use one of these. This type of rope also takes the abrasion over sharp rock edges really well.
Okay. And what about your harness system? Do you have any preference there?
I like a harness that is real simple, lightweight, and doesn't have a lot of padding so it dries out quickly. We're in water problems a lot in canyoneering. But whatever harness you use, you want to make sure that you make that triple wrap. Once, twice, and number 3. There you go. That's what makes the buckle safe and secure.
Well, the nice thing about these new harnesses is that they have the directions sewn right inside the belt, so you can't do it wrong.
It's a nice safety feature.
Now, for your descending device, do you use a plain old figure 8?
Well, as you can see by this worn little device here, I've used that in canyons a lot. They work well. I like them for water problems, particularly because I can get on and off the rope very quickly. But the whole principle of using a descent device is friction. The wraps around the bars here create friction so that my body weight is dissipated by the friction of this device. If I need to stop or slow down, all I have to do is run the rope around the back of my body like that. It's very simple, very safe.
Now, what if you lost your figure 8? How would you rappel out?
Well, with these extra carabiners, you just set up a carabiner brake rappel. And every canyoneer should know how to do that in case they drop one of these.
Yeah. I notice your carabiners don't have locking gates on them, which is what I usually use on my figure.
That's a nice feature, and a lot of climbers use that. But in canyoneering situations, mud and sand can get in here, and sometimes this gate won't open or close properly. So it gets to be a problem. But if you use carabiners like this, with their gates in opposition, that opposition keeps the figure 8 from coming out. And it always works. It's a foolproof system, and that's why I like it.
Hey, I saw this hammer over here. What are you going to use this for?
The hammer goes with that drill down there. This is a percussion drill, and you pound on it and twist at the same time. That gives you a nice 3/8 inch hole. And then into that, you're going to put one of these expansion bolts. You tighten them with a wrench. They get bigger at the end. That's that. Nice anchor.
Then you just feed this webbing through it like that?
Yeah, exactly. You tie this off at whatever length so that it can go over the edge. Then you can pull down your rope nice and safely without having to pull it over the edge.
And then you just leave this webbing on the anchor?
Yeah, you'll leave that. Most of the time, you're going to be looking for a natural anchor, like a tree or a boulder or something like that. And then you don't have to face the rock by drilling bolt holes unnecessarily.
Well, I'm ready for the first drop. How about you?
Well, first we're going to have to find a good anchor.
Okay.
Remember an anchor around here somewhere, unless I'm lost again. Nope, there it is.
Hey, this one even has a couple slings around it, so we don't have to use our own.
Well, I don't know about that. We want to take a good look at them before we trust our life to them. First, you want to look at the knot, make sure it's tied well. You can see that this one isn't. And then, yeah, see, this could pull through and actually come untied on a rappel. Bad idea. This, you want to look inside the knot also and see if it's faded from the rest of the webbing. If it is, that usually means it's been out in the sun too long and it could be weakened by the sun quite a bit. But in both of these, you can see these horrible burn marks that the rappel lines have made by being pulled down from down below. That really weakens the webbing, so I think we better use ours.
Yeah, good idea. Now, what kind of knot are they using to tie up these slings?
That's a ring bend, and it's a real simple knot, and it's much, much better than a square knot. You start with a nice little overhand knot like that, no twist, then you just follow it back through. Very simple and very safe knot.
Now, how much load can one of these slings handle?
The average car could be held in the air with these. You know, they hold over 4,000 pounds, so they're very safe.
Now, what's this piece of hardware?
That's a descending ring, and instead of putting the rappel line through here, we'll put it through the ring. And that way we won't burn the webbing, and it'll be easier to pull down from below.
Well, we should probably cut these off, right?
Good idea. We'll just take that stuff with us. The important thing here is to get this rope running right over a nice smooth edge like that one. That looks good.
Okay. You ready to get the packs ready to drop down?
Yeah, I'll have to do that so I can lower them to you.
Now, you don't use helmets when you canyoneer, right?
Usually not. I mean, helmets are a good idea, but they're heavy, they're hot. And down here, you know, in canyons that I've been in like this one, the flash floods usually come through here and keep it pretty clean, so. And you'll be under the overhang down here, so we're quite safe here.
Okay.
Well, you ready to give this a try?
Yeah. You know, it's been a while. Why don't you check me out here?
Okay. Are your carabiners in opposition there?
Yep.
Okay, that's a good start. One of the common problems with these figure eights is that people come up through and go over the neck like that. And then when you go over an edge like that, the canyon itself can push this into a girth hitch knot. And this is a real problem.
Yeah. Not dangerous, but they'll stop you cold, right?
Absolutely, and then, you know, it's very difficult to get yourself going again. So to avoid that, you just go down through and up over the top, and then your girth hitch problem is no more.
Okay.
Okay, now on your braking hand, let's see, we want to go this way.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
right.
that you can take it around behind you to slow down or stop. That's good, okay. Should weight on the rope there.
Okay.
Okay, now as you approach the edge, keep your feet about as wide apart as your shoulders, not real wide.
Okay.
Okay. And then you want to be able to, right at the edge, lean back far enough that you can step on the underside there. If you step down too soon, you're going to slide back into the wall. You hit your knee, might require some dental work. It's not a good idea,
No.
okay?
Okay.
So make sure you lean back far enough.
Oh, man. Here we go. Whoa, that first drop is something, isn't it?
Lean back now.
Once you get over that ledge, it's not so bad.
Feet apart, about as wide apart as your shoulders. Good. Relax, you're doing great.
You really got to bounce off the walls, though, to get down through it.
Keep your knees bent. Pretty nice down there, huh?
This is incredible in here. It's rocks moving every which way.
What a great ledge you've got.
Yeah, you get some nice air coming off of that.
Grab this, will you?
Gotcha. I got one.
That's
That's
good.
good. I'll bring you over. Come on over and set a spell.
Mind if I do? Good work.
This is like a dried up riverbed in here.
It's dry right now, but when it rains enough, it's a torrent down here. There's a maze of canyons up above here, and they act like a funnel, and it all comes right down here.
Is there any danger of a flash flood?
There's always a danger of a flash flood in a place like this, and you have to watch the weather constantly. Look up at this log jam up above us. That's how high the water comes through here.
Whoa, that must be 30 feet up.
That won't be the highest one we see in here either, I'll tell you that.
Is there anything you can do to anticipate a flash flood?
Well, you really have to watch the weather. In the Southwest, most of the thunderstorms and floods happen in August and September, and that's when you really need to be careful. But, you know, you really can't anticipate everything. Yeah, let's go down this way. The safest thing for you to do to learn canyoneering is to be with somebody that's experienced, because there's just so many different things that you need to know about.
Well, what do you do if, say, you're in here and the water starts to rise down
If
here?
the water gets coming up real fast, you're going to want to look for high ground as soon as you can. But you might be there for a while. I got caught on a ledge for 3 days, and we thought the flood would go down, but it never did. We eventually had to go out a completely different way.
Whoops, right into the water.
Well, that's why we waterproof these things, right?
Yeah. Okay, it's getting wider in here.
Yeah, bridge over into it. Bridge over into it, upper body, quick. Oh, excellent. Excellent. What do we got up there?
That's getting a lot wider. You might want to take a look at this one.
Oh, we got a pool up there, don't we? Looks like the surf might be up. Could be a swimmer, John.
Great.
Nah, we can bridge it.
Okay.
Just keep the right side of your wetsuit against this wall here.
Okay. The most frustrating thing is to go on a great outdoor adventure and come back with photographs that are poorly exposed, blurry, or too contrasty. And taking photographs in a slot canyon has to be one of the most difficult photographic situations to master. But Dennis, what's the most common mistake you see photographers making down here?
Well, most of them just don't want to carry the weight of the tripod, John, just like you did. We're going to find out that we have to have these down here. The biggest problem is trying to get everything in focus. The canyons have a lot of depth. And if we don't use a real small aperture and a long exposure, we won't get it, and half of it will be blurry.
How about some help on composition?
Let's take a look. Well, that's pretty good, but why don't you try it vertically?
Oh, that makes too much sense,
I think that'll work better.
Get a tall, narrow space, you want to go vertical.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do about contrast down in a place like this?
We are fighting contrast constantly. It's a real problem for canyon photographers. We want light coming in, but we don't want to shoot that real bright light. Ideally, the light bounces from one wall to the other, and we shoot the reflected wall, not the one that's real contrasty. And that works really well. That's where you get the best color.
Yeah. Now, how do you meter something like this?
Well, there's an old photographer friend of mine that said that you can't meter it, and you just have to know what it is. But I prefer to use a spot meter. And I'll usually meter on the brightest area that I want to render with full color, not the brightest part of the scene. And then I'll start bracketing toward overexposure from that point on. And that works real well. It's very hard to overexpose down in these canyons.
Campsite around here somewhere?
Yeah, I think we should be able to find one up here somewhere.
Camping in a slot canyon is a lesson in simplicity, since there's not much space down here. You start with your campsite selection. You want to have it well off the canyon floor, with reasonable protection from the wind and the water, with a nice flat spot to sleep. Now, as far as your gear goes, you want to keep it limited to the bare essentials. That means a sleeping bag, a sleeping pad, a cook kit, a stove, food for the duration, and extra clothing. And to keep your clothing dry, you want to use a double bag system of 2 trash bags inside a stuff sack, and then that goes inside your pack. Oh, and about your sleeping pad, you want to think foam. The abrasive rock and cactus down here will quickly shred the inflating type. And finally, remember that you're in a constricted space down here, and that means you pack out everything you pack in, including human waste. And a real effective system for that is a hard plastic container with 2 trash bags inside. Oh, did you get some water?
Yeah, I pumped a couple quarts, but I left the filter down by the pool. The next 2 are on you.
Okay. Dinner's about ready to go here. Got one of my favorites, macaroni and cheese.
That ought to keep us going for another day.
Okay, off rope.
I'm ready to lower.
Okay, let her rip. Almost there.
There was some water up here last time. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't water up there now. Oh yeah.
How deep do you think it is?
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
There's a rope here, so just use it.
Okay.
It might hold you. If it doesn't hold you, it doesn't really matter. You'll just fall in the water.
Can you touch bottom?
Oh yeah. You can just touch bottom here, John.
To walk?
Yeah, no problem.
Whoa! Now you said you can touch bottom. Anything to worry about with all this water?
Oh, not really. This stuff comes from the springs that we saw up higher. But it is something to watch because it could be, you know, telling you that it's raining up above and it might be starting to flood. The first thing that you would notice is a change in color. But then you might notice even some pine needles coming down. You want to throw those?
Sure.
Pine needles are a dead giveaway that you got a flood coming. And then the water starts to rise and you better be looking for high ground at that point. Yeah, make your switch. There you go. Good. One more. You got it. Boy, do you smell that?
Yeah, what is that?
That's this fern over here. There you go. Maidenhair fern. It's one of my favorite scents in the desert. If they could make a perfume out of that, I'd be powerless.
You know, I can't get over the odd shapes in the walls. What kind of natural force is creating it?
You can thank floods for that. I mean, originally it was glacier melt. They kind of set the courses of the ancient streams when they started to recede. And then the whole area was uplifted into a major plateau. And now modern floods come down and deepen the canyons faster than they can erode sideways.
Huh. Was it just the water, or is there a lot of sediment in it, or
Well,
what?
you know, when a flood comes down, it's full of sediment, but boulders too, and you can hear them crashing and gnashing on their way down.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like a big chainsaw going through here.
We're making pretty good time, huh?
Oh, we are today, but I've been in canyons where that wasn't the case. We went around a corner one time, narrow canyon, and there was a tree wedged like a dagger, straight up vertical in the mud. There was 2 inches on either side. We had to climb up 30 feet, traverse across the roots, and then go down another 30 feet. It must have taken us 45 minutes to go 18 inches down that canyon. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Boy. Well, I'm glad all that tight, twisty stuff is behind us on this trip. Well, we started this trip in a dry, flat desert plateau, then dropped into a subterranean world of sculpted rock. And here, the Navajo and Cayena sandstone opens up into a classic river canyon. And this water eventually flows into the granddaddy of them all, the Grand Canyon. But hey, that's a whole nother trip. We're going to continue to enjoy this one for a while. So we'll see you next time on Trailside.
The home video of this program, as well as other programs in the Trailside series, is available for $19.98 plus shipping and handling by calling 1-800-TRAILSIDE. The videos include behind-the-scenes footage of the making of the program, as well as additional Trailside tips and techniques. To order, please have your credit card ready and call us at 1-800-872-4574.
This concludes another season of Trailside. Thanks for watching, but remember to tune in TSN Outdoors every Saturday morning for more wilderness adventures.
Boy, for a desert, this is some pretty lush vegetation. You got ponderosa pine, maple, even got some oak down here. What's going on?
That's true. Every canyon bend's different down here. If you don't like this one, just go around it. Another one. They all vary depending on how much sun they have, how much moisture. Those are called microclimates.
Whoa. Look at this. Ooh, this is neat down here.